So now that we've gone through the arraignment, we've gone through the pre-trial proceedings, we've determined what the jury is going to be, it's finally time to start the trial. Okay, so the first thing about criminal trials is they're actually very similar to civil trials. Okay, the steps that the people in the courtroom go through for criminal trials is nearly identical as they are for civil trials. It opens with opening statements, okay, both by the prosecution and the defense. There's going to be presentation of the cases by both the prosecution and the defense. Each side is going to have the opportunity to cross-examine the witnesses that are being brought forward, and then we're going to close things out with the closing statements. And once again, the prosecution will go first in the closing statements, and the defense will have the final say. Okay, so there's really not a whole difference there in the steps that are taken once we get into this trial phase between civil and criminal trials. Okay, now the one main difference, well, there's a couple differences, but one of the differences is that almost all criminal cases are going to be determined by a jury. Some civil cases, there is no jury. Almost every single criminal case, there's going to be a jury. Remember, a crime is a wrong against society. So we want members of society, which is a jury, to ultimately have the say in whether or not this person is guilty or innocent. Okay, the verdicts, they have to be unanimous. The verdict is the decision from the jury. Okay, all the jury members, they have to be in agreement that the person was guilty in order for there to be a conviction. Okay, if one person doesn't agree, okay, it's called a hung jury. The jury members cannot get an agreement as to whether or not somebody committed the crime, so we call that a hung jury. When there's a hung jury, that means that the case can go back on trial. The government can go back, they can regather evidence, and at a later date, they can try to, put this person on trial again if they so choose. Now, that's different than double jeopardy, okay, the last point on this slide. Double jeopardy means that if you are found to be not guilty, that means that every single jury member agreed that you were not guilty, then you cannot be tried again for that same crime in the same court. You have a Fifth Amendment protection against that. Okay, so if every single jury member says you're not guilty, that falls under double jeopardy, and you cannot be tried again for that same crime in that same court.